Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are watching us from, our distinguished audience. I am Comfort Eyitayo, your regular host for Connect with Comfort show. As you know, on this program, we aim to add value to people on business, enterprise, and personal growth. Each show is organized to feature guests who are subject matter experts, that is, on the particular topic of the day. I am glad you are able to join us today. You are most welcome. Today's topic is undeniably crucial in our lives, and the topic is mind your money. In a world driven by economic intricacies and financial challenges, it becomes imperative for each one of us to navigate the pathways of personal finance with mindfulness and strategic planning. Money undoubtedly plays a pivotal role in shaping our present and the future. It impacts not just our individual lives, but also the well being of our families and communities. Today, we will not only discuss the significance of managing our finances wisely, but also to explore practical insights and strategies that can empower us on this journey. Before we start our discussion, let us reflect on the proverbial wisdom that reminds us, mind your money, for it is a faithful servant, but also can be a ruthless master. This phrase encapsulates the duality of money. It can serve us as a tool when we manage it very well with prudence, and it can open doors to opportunities and dreams. Yet, on the other hand, when neglected or mismanaged, it can lead to unforeseen challenges, hardship, and constraints. I'm sure some of you will remember this Yoruba song that say "Àlejò lówó," that is money. Maybe you say a stranger or a visitor. It is how well you entertain or take care, in this concept, take care of the visitor, that you get to enjoy it. So this is another way of relating this proverbial wisdom. So in our interview segment today, we hope to learn from the expert in the field, our distinguished guest who is already with us in the house, who will guide us in mastering the art of financial mindfulness. So let us keep our minds open to the insights that will be shared, and may this exploration lead us towards a more secure and prosperous financial future, even as we prepare for the new year. So please remain connected. We'll be right back to bring in our guests after this short break. Thank you. Welcome back. Thanks for staying connected. Our distinguished guest for today's topic is no other than Osayi Tres Omokaro. He is fondly called by his admirers as the father of Edo startups. That leaves you no prize for guessing where he is from. So our guest is a GOPA GIZ certified ICSS trainer, facilitator, and coach, TFSC. He is also a certified business coach, business development expert, business consulting expert, business management expert, and a certified public speaker. He is a certified member, International Strategic Management Institute, ISMI, and a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria, ICEN. He is currently one of the mentors in the Tony Elumelu Foundation program, International Breweries Foundation, known as the Kickstart Grant Program, and Access to Success Entrepreneurship and Grant Awarding Programs. This is just a very, very reduced, what will I call it? A bridge profile of our guest today. But we need to let you know a bit of him so that you know that we are actually talking to the experts. We are in good hands for the insights that we hope to receive today. So without much ado, join me please in welcoming our distinguished guest for today's topic, Osayi Tres Omokaro. You are most welcome, and we thank you very much for agreeing to do this for us, for sharing, to allow us to share in your wealth of experience that you've gathered over the years, and to also give the insight to our audience for them to be able to mind their money better. Thank you. You are most welcome.
Thank you so much for the privilege to be engaging with your audience. The pleasure is mine, and I hope that at the end of today, there will be a lot of knowledge sharing while I'll be sharing my experiences. And I trust that the questions that will come up will be able to pull out some from me, even some of the things I may not have prepared to share. It's always a pleasure to be guiding people's thoughts because verily, whether we like it or not, we are geniuses. We are geniuses. So whatever we focus on, our genius thrive. So I've decided to focus on helping people get mindful about their finances. And I hope that today is another privileged opportunity for me to share my thoughts. Thank you so much, Mommy.
Thank you. You're welcome. So without taking much time, we'll go straight into the business of the day. Our topic, very unique topic, mind your money. When we are talking of minding our money, this can be examined under different headings, and anything to do with money without much explanation is known to come under finance. And if we are saying to manage something, it means you have to plan. So let's look at this topic under financial planning first and foremost. How do we approach financial planning in our business or personal life? Because this topic is not only for business, it's also for our personal life.
All right. I am one of those that believe that even an individual's life is a business. Sometimes when you ask people, are you in business? You see people who think that they are not into the sales of products and services, think that they are not in business. Your life in itself is a business. There's an economy around your life, and all of that needs to be planned. First, planning is unnecessary without a destination. So, financial goal is always the basis for planning. Where exactly do you want to be at a given time? We know of the concept of setting a smart goal. When you've decided financially, this is where I want to be at a given time, you are specific, and the whatever amount you have stated is measurable, is attainable, is reasonable, and time bound. Once you fix that, then you begin to go back and begin to plan. What are the things I need to do to be able to achieve this goal? I think that's where you start to look at your earning capacity. Then you get to become mindful of your spending habits. And because you have told yourself, I need to be at $10,000 at the end of 2024, and you're looking at yourself, this is how much I earn, this is how much I spend, this is how much I should save, this is how much you go into investments. And when I put this on this investment with a given return on that investment, I'll be able to meet my $10,000 possibly savings at the end of 2024. I think planning starts from goal setting. Having set out your destination, then you begin to map out your plan. We are spiritual people. The Bible said there is no one who wants to build a house who will not first sit down to count the cost to find out whether he or she has what it takes to complete it. So the destination that we're going to determine the kind of plans we need to put in place to get there. I'm sure that answers our question.
Definitely, definitely. In fact, in depth. Thank you very much for that response. So, with that explanation, what would you consider the right steps or the first step to be taken in setting our financial goals? Or how do we also prioritize other goals,
Yeah,
other steps?
obviously, when we talk about goal, a lot of emphasis goes on our financial goal because finance seems to be like the bloodstream of the other goals. But I always tell people why planning and setting your financial goal. In fact, set goals around 7 areas of your life. Your finance, very important, your health, your career, your family, because relationship is important. For us, we emphasize holistic wealth. If you make a lot of money and your family is broken, you may be rich to those who observe you, but you are not wealthy. To be wealthy means everything is holistic. Your health is in place, your finance is in place, your family is in place, your children still have access to you. You know, you are able to meet your roles and responsibilities. So the first step is to ensure that map out the amounts. When it comes to financial planning, we must be specific. A lot of times you see people talk about this is what they want to do, but they've never taken time to write it down. Once you decide on what you want to do, write it down. Until it is written down, it's really not a goal. It ends up as a wish. So I think the first step is once you decide it, write it down. Write out the amount. Then go back and begin to brainstorm on it. How do I get to this amount? Sometimes the how comes from after writing the what. A lot of times people want to set financial goal based on what they think they can achieve. While in the SMART acronym, we talk about attainability of a goal. The goal should also be stretching enough to help you improve on your capacity. In my goal setting class, I tell people that most times the person who is setting the goal is not qualified to be the person who will attain that goal. Because when you set a goal that stretches you, it means when you're thinking about the achievement of that goal, you're going to find out that there's a lot of capacity enhancement that needs to happen to you for you to be able to achieve that goal. So set goals that stretches you, but while it stretches you, ask yourself, do I have the capacity to stretch to meet this goal? So it must be a goal that can stretch you, but the first step is write it down. There's something magical about your pen. Once you document something, your mind, it's imprinted in your mind, and the universe begins to work to make it happen. So the first step is documentation.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. And that leads nicely to the next question. Because when we talk of budget, you cannot have budget without being written down. So,
Yeah.
can you describe budgeting process and how to track our expenses? Because these are all related to managing our money.
Okay. I realized something. If you look historically, Israelis happens to be among the wealthiest clan in humanity. And I found out something that there is a financial system that's operated by the Israeli. And that financial system is the fact that an average Israeli from childhood is made to budget like this. They live on 50% on whatever they earn. They keep 10% for charity, 10% for savings, and the balance 30% for investments. So live on 50%. So I recommend that as a budgeting model. Live on 50% of whatever you earn. Keep 10% for charity, another 10% for savings, and 30% for investments. The reason why this is extremely important is the fact that for some of us as Africans, our culture, if we are not mindful, end up creating a circle of poor people. It's very difficult for one person to thrive in an African family and not get pulled down by the others. So that's why budgeting is very important. I'm sure subsequent question may make me talk deep about this. For time's sake, I'll just leave it at that. Live on 50% and understand this doesn't come easy, because sometimes you're looking at your 100% earning and you're asking yourself, the 100% is not even enough. This man is telling me to live on 50. But how do I always answer that question? If you earn 300,000 naira, for instance, just ask yourself this question: are there people living on 150,000 naira a month? If the answer is yes, you can too. And one good thing about budgeting is that once you budget, you realize the efforts you need to go back and put in to be able to meet your budget. But just go ahead and put the budget down. The how will figure itself out once you start to practice. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. It's getting more interesting. Yes, these days people say even the salary or the earnings are not enough. Now to think of slashing it into half and having to manage. But then the real question is, are there people surviving with less than that?
Yeah.
So maybe that would encourage us. But in all this, I think it is more of discipline. If you are able
Yes.
to discipline yourself, I'm sure it is achievable. So in giving us explanation about the budgeting model, we touched on one of the key components, which is savings.
Yes.
So what strategies can we use for saving money?
Okay. The simplest and you know, I'll call it automation. Automation. Your earnings come through your bank accounts. Even if it comes through, even if you are a trader who earns your cash on a regular basis, sometimes some of these things that we need to do. That's why in introducing this session, I said we are all geniuses. The only difference between my genius and the next person's genius is our area of focus. The truth is, savings has been a part of our culture. If you automate your saving, that's what our parents do. When you have these thrift collectors, what we call a susu and the likes, come on a daily basis, and you give them a certain amount. Most times when you are giving it to them, there is food passing. There are things that you can immediately buy, but you have to commit. So the same way, automate your savings. Give your bank an instruction to remove a given amount from all of your earnings at the end of every month, and tell yourself that money is not mine. It will give you a level of comfort. I tell people, do you want to be justifiably broke, or you want to follow the discipline and at the end you have your rest of mind? Because if you are not saving, we can justify it. But at the end, when the time comes where the money you have saved is supposed to save you, what happens? So I think automation makes it happen, whether through the bank or through the human system of the SUSU and all that.
Fantastic. And there are so many of automation style or model even that banks offers these days. So we can look into that. Now, when you have saved, and part of the component you touched on is also investment. Believing part of your saving is also towards investment.
Yeah.
So how do we decide where to invest our money?
Okay. That's a question that comes to me regularly. I answer that question from the way the book The Richest Man in Babylon answers it. Never invest on anything you do not understand. Because I know that madam will not allow your platform to be the one that will come on and start naming, go and put money here, go and put money here, go and put money here. Because when we begin to name such, people will take the trust that they have for the speakers and transfer that level of trust to the investment platform. Meanwhile, the me that is talking to you, I do not work in that investment firm.
You have no
I
control.
cannot really validate what the back end is. So my message when it comes to investment, first invest in the knowledge of whatever you want to put your money in. Once you invest in the knowledge and you get to learn it, you find out that your investment gets safer in any place where you have the knowledge of how the back end works. We see a lot of investment that promises mouth-watering returns, but check those investments. Majority of them comes at the time where the economy of our nation is always at the lowest ebb. And check the myriad of people that fall prey to those investments. They are the poorest of the poor that think that they do not have money. So never invest on the blink blink. Don't invest on the promises of high return. First, invest in knowledge. Once you have the knowledge of the investment becomes safer to invest in. Thank you. I'm sure that answers our question.
It does really. Part of it is what you have explained is for us to make sure when you said you should know, don't invest on something you don't know.
Yes.
I believe is in trying to make sure that we avoid unnecessary risk.
Risk. Yeah.
So, what should be our risk tolerance when it comes to investment? Definitely no pain, no gain, as they say.
Of
So,
course.
risk is part of investment, if I can put it that way. So, but what should be the risk tolerance when it comes to investment, and how do we manage it?
Okay. First of all, our risk tolerance to a reasonable extent are intrinsic. They are intrinsic. A lot of us have a very high risk appetite. And most times, when we take that risk and it comes with losses, we are able to manage it. But some of us have very low risk appetite. If you take a look at your children, for you that is watching or listening to me, if you take a look at your children, you almost can tell their risk level. You know, some children are very daring, but some decide to take their things step by step. You know, so most times our risk appetite, our risk tolerance level is intrinsic, but your risk appetite can be improved on when you choose to train yourself. For instance, if you are somebody that have very low risk appetite, just simply look at investment windows that have transcended time. You talk about stocks and shares, you talk about mutual funds, you talk about real estate and all of that. These are investments that have been there over the years. But for someone who have a very high risk appetite, may say, let me give myself another 6 months. Let me study this cryptocurrency thing. Let me understand it. Let me take some risk there. But basically, settle down and reevaluate yourself. How much risk can I take? Then never invest an amount you cannot let go in the case of a loss. If you put in this money and it doesn't come back, what happens? Can I still maintain my life? Can I still maintain my family? Can I still go on with my life? So once those questions are answered, particularly if you follow the budgeting system that we talked about earlier on, you already know that you are living on a certain percentage of your money, and that should not, don't take the risk of taking that and plunging into an investment, you know. So just once you have that financial planning around your life and you live in a disciplined manner, then whatever investment, whatever risk appetite you have and your tolerance level, you should be able to manage it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And tied in nicely to all that has been explained already in terms of managing money, investment, and aiming towards growth. There's a place for debt. And the question is, have you ever used debt as a tool for financial growth? And if so, how?
Okay. Particularly, I don't do debts. I have a banking experience. I've worked in the bank for a while. So I do my best to avoid debt, because not because debt is bad in itself, not because debt is bad in itself, but my advice to anybody who want to engage debt to advance financial growth is that do not take debt financing to start a business. In fact, your question already puts it clear. For financial growth, you can take debt, haven't tested your business model and your business idea with your savings and personal finance, and you have validated the feasibility of that business. you've been able to see that customers have need of the product or the service you are offering. For instance, if you are able to produce a certain quantity of your goods and services and the demand triples the quantity you can give, then you can seek depth to enhance your production. While you are enhancing your production, the market is already available to take up those services. Then your debt is paid from what you earn. But what we find out around this aspect of our of the world is the fact that young people are thinking of business, because I work a lot with innovators and startup founders. You see, somebody is thinking of an innovative idea and they are hoping to bankroll it from inception with debt. Because the truth is, when you run a business, two things are possible. You're either going to succeed or you're going to learn from the process. If at the end the business do not succeed and you take your lessons, you don't want to take debt along with those lessons. Otherwise, your life becomes difficult. You begin to struggle to find a balance. So I particularly do not recommend debt. But as a business begin to grow, you can't run away from it. So just be sure that you use debt to finance growth, not starting. That would be my advice.
Thank you very much. Very, very useful advice. But these days, with a lot of offerings, mouth-watering offerings, and some comes in disguise that people will probably not know that there are some catchy areas in that, like including credit card debt, and because it's not really huge loan as that, some people do not see it until it hits them in the end.
Yeah.
So what would be the strategy for paying off such loan or credit card debt if it happens that you fall a victim?
Yeah. Yeah, when you recoin it along this credit card, because even some Nigerian banks now give credit cards, give access to credit card loans, and I have taken one of two of such at times. Of sometimes you are not even in need, but they just throw it at you, and you are wondering, you know. But if you sit down and take a deep look at it, you will understand that these guys are in business. They are
Yes.
in business. Never think that they are out there
They
for
love
your
you.
good. No, they don't love you. I used to tell people, you see someone who is just about to start life and business sitting in the banking hall, practically begging the marketers for loans. The same marketers will fare their car, put themselves inside the vehicle, and go and meet an established industrialist, appealing to them to come and take a debt
Come and take
facility.
you.
Why? Their focus is on your ability to pay back. Also look at this scenario. In my experience in the bank, I see the bankers having two challenges. They have huge funds and they have responsibility to give out these funds. They have the risk of someone taking the fund and not paying back.
So,
So both of them are risk on them. So when they go out, they either face the pressure of not giving out the fund and getting queried by their management, or giving out the fund to the wrong person, not being able to recover it and paying with their own money. So they default to the first. So when you're thinking about those kind of credit card funds, it's just their ability to ensure that the funds in their vault go out and make more money. So key that mindset that these guys are out to help me. They are not. They are out to increase on their revenue. So when you ever take that fund and now there is need to pay back, some of them give you the minimum payment you must pay on a monthly basis. Do whatever it takes to meet that minimum payment. But if you ever have a windfall, pay off a chunk of that debt. Because just imagine you're saving money in a bank account where you don't even get up to 5% per annum, and you are paying debt that takes you like 8% per month. So that your savings is wasted. So instead of saving at that time, use those savings to quickly clear up those credit card debts so that you free more money for yourself. That would be my advice on that. Thank you.
Good advice, I say, good advice. So, in all this, how often do we review our financial statements and accounts? Because with what we have outlined, we need to look at that too.
Yeah, in our concept of minding your money,
Mhm.
when you hear the word mind your money, it means be mindful of what's happening to
Yes.
your money. So it means on a monthly basis. And the banks have made it very easy. As an individual, you can download your bank statements on a regular basis. So do this every month. As a business, download your monthly statement of account and make sure your accountant review it and advise. So you know where you are shooting beyond your budget. You know when you are shooting beyond your planned expenditure. So monthly is my recommendation.
Okay. Are there resources or tools that we can use to stay informed about financial matters that
Okay,
you are aware of?
particularly particularly with individual understanding of themselves. I'm not someone that is very good at reading. I rather watch videos and listen to podcasts. So for me to keep informed globally with financial matters, I follow some persons on YouTube. Then I subscribe to some newsletters like Forbes. I follow somebody. There's this man that comes is himself minority mindsets. Minority mindset is an Arabic person. He teaches on finance on YouTube. Then he has a lot of newsletters that comes to you every morning. Just imagine if you dedicate 10 to 20 minutes every day to understand how money is moving around the globe, you know. So that helps a lot. If you subscribe to things like Forbes, they have daily newsletters that comes out. Then of course, coming back home, Twitter has made it very easy to follow some financial institutions. So follow financial institutions, follow CBN on Twitter, follow the likes of Ministry of Finance. Understand where the budget is going, because the budget of any nation is an indication of where the government of that nation is putting their money. So be a part of those robust conversations. Listen to money shows on TV. If at that time those money shows are being discussed at the time when you are at work, thank God majority of them are on YouTube. Find a way to just glean, even if it's 5-10 minutes on a daily basis. Just make sure you are aware of the financial activities around you regularly.
Thank you very much. Alongside this, for businesses, sometimes we worried about our credit score. So, how do we become aware of our credit score and how can it influence our financial decision?
Okay, the credit score system is a bit new in Nigeria. It's a bit new in Nigeria, but I'm not sure a lot of us even know that there's a platform where we can check our credit score. I can't remember the name now. I can't remember the name exactly, but I think there is a platform where some of these financial institutions use to check your credit rating even before they give you credits. But as it goes, just ensure that you uphold your personal integrity. When you are indebted, do not allow your own personal accounts go into debt. When you are in, sometimes people are denied huge funds, people are denied visas, people are denied some opportunities because they have an account that has entered into debit and they never knew. Some is just in few naira. So just ensure that you constantly do what is right. You know, when you are owing a bank and you don't have the capacity to pay, be the first to approach them. I tell people your debtors want you more alive, even more than you want it. Because if you die, your money becomes a bad debt. So they want you alive. So don't run away from them. Approach them. As long as there's a communication going on between both of you, they just know that there is hope that this money will come one day.
That's very useful. Very, very useful. Sometimes some things we do comes back to haunt us. So I
Yeah,
think we should really take a hint from that. And it underscores even personal integrity, because when you are talking of account going into debt, it smacks of your own standing as someone of integrity. They expect you
yeah,
to live above board. So those are the
yeah.
things that sum up that. So that's a good and useful hint. Now, how do our lifestyle choices impact our financial well-being?
That's a powerful question. Thank you for asking. Because a lot of times, particularly with the economic situation that we are in now, people still live life trying to send messages to people who really do not care about them. Sorry to use this example. I was sitting with someone recently. We were trying to review something that was going on with his life because he was going through some financial challenges, some that are his decisions, some that were the fault of others. And while we were sitting there, this example is very small, but speaks to it. While we were sitting there, his two children came up to him and they needed to drink water. He gave them 200 naira each of them to go buy bottled water. And when they left, I said, "Well, how come they couldn't buy sachets?" He said, "No, they will pour it on their body." I said, "You see, this is part of your issues. This is part of your issues. Children, that 200 naira, 40 naira could have bought them just two sachets of water and they will still not finish it. In fact, one can take care of the two of them, but you gave them money to buy bottled water. As small as this is, a lot of times people don't know that it's one plus one that becomes two, that becomes 1 million, that becomes 10 million. Our spending habit most times is drawn from wanting to live within a standard. When you have all the money and you have your life planned out, a lot of persons may not observe that, but because this is the focus of my thinking and my work, I easily picked it. And I told the person, so you must be mindful of the spendings. You don't need to buy things to make a statement. Because the truth is, the people you are actually making that statement for, they are not seeing you. So let your internal well-being, your peace, be your primary drive in your spending patterns. Don't allow what people will think. Don't buy clothes that will make people rate you who you are not. Buy clothes that you can afford. Buy clothes. And to be frank, people will attribute quality to a cloth because of the person wearing it most times, especially if it's not one of those designers that have their badge outside. The fact that you are the one wearing this cloth, they assume is a quality. So don't spend money to make people happy. Spend money at the level of your comforts and aspire for growth. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And I think that speaks to what I would have asked as next question of being having mindful spending. So be very mindful in your
You're spending.
spending
Yeah.
habits. So what adjustments should we make in our lifestyle to better align with our financial goals?
Yeah, first of all, understand that you must live a life of budgets. And within your budget, create room for fun when you can afford it. When you cannot afford it, adjust your expenditures to take care of the necessities. You know, economists tells us that human wants are insatiable, not human needs.
Mhm.
Human needs are the things that your life cannot succeed without. But wants are just the desires that you want to meet. So adjust your life to ensure that your needs are met. Make your needs your priorities. You know, like your health, your feeding, the education of your children. And somebody said something, the best education for your children is the one you can afford. You know, sometimes I see a lot of struggling families take transport, multiple transports to take their children to school every morning. Why? There's this internal mindset that the children's success and greatness in life is tied to the school they attend. You know, and an expensive school does not equal quality education. You know, someone asked that question on Facebook recently, and my response to that question was that your house is an educational institution. Majority of what your children will become will be what they learn in your house, not what they learned in school. So school is a co-parenting platform. Your house is your first, that's what we call the beginning of socialization. So manage your funds in the best way you can and let your internal peace be your priority. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How does having an emergency fund contribute to overall financial peace of mind?
An emergency fund is like well we always use the word when we teach savings that the money you save today will save you tomorrow. You know, if you plan your life, for instance, you know that your house rent comes in at the end of every year if you live in Nigeria. So don't wait till the 10th month, the 11th month before you pay your house rent. Pay your house rent every month. Pay it into an account that can accumulate. And at the time you need to pay it, you just pay it off. And an emergency fund, something you are keeping somewhere you are not expecting anything. But when something bounces off that you were not expecting, it's easy for you to dip your hands there and take care of it. It helps you not to become a burden. It helps you to manage relationships. It helps you not to be in stress. You know, I've seen people accept jobs that will not necessarily be profitable because they are in a dicey situation. And once they accept that, they end up doing a shady job. Because one bad thing about a situation of stress is that you take on things that you wouldn't have taken on, then you do a mediocre job. So an emergency fund will save you from all of this. So you don't find yourself in a situation where you have to accept an offer because you need it to survive. So an emergency fund always help you to remain sane and help you to take your decision as you should, not because without this you can't succeed. Somebody said something, the most powerful person in a negotiation room is the person that is willing to walk away without a deal. You know, that's somebody who has an emergency fund. It doesn't require on this deal to survive.
Thank you very, very much. You notice that we didn't go on break because it was just flowing and we needed that much insight. Time is not on our side. In fact, we've taken all the break time, the segmentation time all together. But it's worthwhile. I'm sure our audience has been better for it. And we just thank you very much for this great insight that you have shared with us today. Um, perhaps we will have to take a part two of this sometimes in the nearest future. I hope you will not
Always be
consider
available.
us as Oliver Twist, because it's so much that you are imparting through this
Thank you.
mind-blowing insight. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for this, for allowing us to tap into your wealth of experience, for your time. We do not take it for granted. And like I said, anytime we come calling next time, please
I'm always
oblige us.
available.
Thank you very much. God bless you. We
Thank you,
just
ma.
have to do a very quick roundup because our time is fast spent, but it has been very useful time spent. Thank you very much. Uh, to my audience, I appreciate all of you for staying through. I've noticed our regular callers, Opeyemi, Tolu, Wendy Garuba, Aseyin, Dr. Aseyin from Abuja, and many of our regular callers. Thank you very much for being there. Taiwo Ojo also from Abuja. You are always with us. Adering to, thank you very much. Because of the session that was sweetening us, time is fast spent, so I have to just quickly run down the recap. Importantly, we're made to be aware by our guests that we should be conscious of financial goal, and in doing that, it has to be a balanced one, talking of the finance, health, family. So we have to achieve a balance. One should not suffer for the other. And whatever we want to do, budgeting or goal setting, we must write it down. It is better to write it down than to just leave it to memory. We need to set out what we call SMART goals. That is, must be specific, measurable, attainable, achievable, and time bound. All those ones have to be there. And looking at what we are earning, what is the yardstick for managing that money. So if we are earning 20,000, for the sake of analogy, we should look at it as if we're earning 10,000. From the wisdom given to us by our guests, 50% of what we earn is what we should plan to live with. Then we set aside 10% for charity, which normally comes in one form or the other. We set 10% also for saving, and 30% for plowing back into the business we're doing, because that's what will make us grow without necessarily going into debt. We've seen situations that can lead people to debt, and that can also make the business to go down, and that can also provide for the emergency fund that we treated as the last one. And then a useful hint for us is that do not invest in business that you do not know anything about, or you are not willing to learn in detail, because then you will be relying on other people's dictates. So you need to also automate your spending pattern to make sure that you put yourself in such a situation that you'll be able to align with the budget set for yourself. So in all this, it's important for us to have financial literacy. We've talked of the usefulness of budgeting, which serves as a guide, and it kind of tailor our expenses in the right direction. Savings, very important for rainy days and for emergency fund. Saving is important. Debt management is only when it is essential for growth, for business growth, and that the indices must be there to show that you actually need to go borrowing. That is, if you are not able to fund it from your savings or friend and family support, then you can consider that, but it must be for specific growth, not something you are speculating on. It shouldn't be for startup. That we have been told. We must spend smartly. We've been told that we should be mindful of our spending. Don't spend to make a statement to let people think you have arrived when you have not even started. So we must be very conscious of that. Our credit score, sometimes we don't look at it from the angle of what we do. Our integrity matters most when we are talking of credit score. Some of the things that we do that can affect our credit rating, and that can also affect the growth of our business in future. So we've talked about our financial goal setting, the short and the medium and long-term goals. We must be very realistic in setting all this. So there are so much that our guests have touched on, and I'm sure we still have the video there to replay on anyone that we have missed. So in all, I want to conclude by saying, as we navigate the complex landscape of personal finance, it becomes increasingly evident that the key to financial well-being lies in our ability to mindfully manage our money. Remember, it's not just about the numbers on your bank statement, it's about the choices you make and the habits you cultivate. So let's commit to being conscious stewards of our financial resources. Take time to budget wisely, invest prudently, and educate yourselves continuously. By empowering ourselves with financial knowledge and practicing responsible money management, we pave the way for a more secure and prosperous future. As we part ways today, let us carry the awareness that our financial decisions not only impact our lives, but also ripple through our communities and beyond. Mind your money, not just for yourself, but as a contribution to the greater economic fabric. May your financial journey be one of mindfulness, growth, and lasting prosperity. And I wish you a future where you thrive financially and achieve your growth desire. So I use this opportunity to appreciate all our online audience, those that I've mentioned and those I have not been able to mention their name. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a very insightful and engaging conversation with our guests. I hope you found value in the ideas and strategies that have been shared. I hope you have enjoyed this show today. If so, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Comfort Eyitayo. Once you have subscribed, please turn on the notification button, like and share our videos. Stay updated with information about upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as my Facebook at Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, may your financial journey be one of growth and lasting prosperity. Here is to a future where we all thrive financially and flourish. God bless you all. Bye for now.